It's time for the Splash Live from Civic Center TV, featuring stories from and about people like you in the greater West Bloomfield area. Simulcast on cable, 89.3 Lakes FM, social media, and the web. Now live from Green Media Center on Walnut Lake Road, it's the Splash Live.
Live, local, and social, it's the Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for being here and joining us today. I am your host for today, Kevin McIntosh. A lot to talk about. Let's get straight into it. Starting off with a big anniversary on its way at the West Bloomfield Library. As a matter of fact, they're celebrating 40 years of their signature program, Book Talk. And throughout that program over the years, 332 books have been discussed with 14 facilitators over those years, leading the conversation. Great accomplishment that they have at the West Bloomfield Township Public Library. They also have a special anniversary book talk that will be happening August 8th at the main library, also doing some book giveaways and some refreshments will be served also. So make sure you mark your calendars. But of course, you can check up with everything directly on social media from the Friends of the West Bloomfield Township Public Library on Facebook, or of course, go directly to the website wblib.org for more. The West Bloomfield Theater has been taking their show on the road. This week, the students at West Bloomfield High School Theater Club actually took their talents all the way to Greece, as a matter of fact. They explored a few different towns. They did some shopping. They actually participated in some acting workshops. So they explored the Corinth Canal, Tolo. Great different towns, great experience for them. Dining, they also swam in the Aegean Sea, if I said that correct. But they did some swimming, they had some fun, they did some shopping, exploring. Overall, if you're looking at the pictures on Civic Center TV, you can just look at the photos and what they've done. Great time, great experience for our young people at West Bloomfield High School Theater, exploring great things in Greece. And you can check out everything, all the photos yourself on their Facebook, West Bloomfield Schools on Facebook for more information. Continuing on with West Bloomfield Schools. Congratulations to our West Bloomfield School Board members receiving high honors at the annual Oakland County School Board Association Awards banquet. Carol Finkelstein, recently elected to the Oakland Schools Board of Education, received the Apple Award for 12 years of service. Congratulations. We also have Julie Beatty, Ashley Davis, Deborah Evans, Nelson Hirsch, and Art Holdsworth received the Standard of Excellence Award of Merit also. All well-deserved. You can see their smiling faces right here on Civic Center TV also. We want to congratulate Deborah Evans, also received an Award of Distinction. All great awards recognizing great people who are making a difference right here in our community. Check out those photos and show your love and support also on Facebook. West Bloomfield Schools is where you want to go for there to check that out. Now, we know as we slide into the weekend, if you are familiar, you've been outside, there's a lot of heat going on. And the heat will continue to be on as we enter the weekend, and we want to keep you safe. So there's a lot going on. The Splash Live's very own Tyler Key from our team spoke with Sergeant Blake Belsky from the West Bloomfield Township Fire Department to learn how you can enjoy the summer and beat the heat.
And thank you for being with us, Sergeant.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, happy to have you on. It's a really important conversation to have as we're addressing heat in the 90s or even close to triple digits as we go through this week. Very high humidity as well, and a lot of sunshine in the forecast also. So as we have this beautiful weather, but this hot weather, what are some of the potential hazards that come along with it?
Well, you guys made some fantastic points. If you find yourself unable to avoid the heat that's coming, you need to really start paying attention to the signs that your body's giving you. Everyone's typical reaction to these temperatures is to start feeling warm. You're going to notice that your body is sweating, maybe more than you're used to in some situations. Even if you're not engaging in any physical activity, you're going to be sweaty. You're going to be thirsty as your body tries to compensate for the hydration that you're losing. You might start feeling dizzy and nauseous, and you might even start feeling some cramps developing. And those are early signs that your body is starting to struggle to deal with the heat. Uh, the best way to address that is to, again, like you said, find those cooling centers, get back inside. If you can find an air-conditioned environment, that's fantastic. If you don't have air conditioning, use fans, jump in the shower, take a bath, anything you can do to cool yourself off, rehydrate with water, some Gatorade if you feel like you need some electrolytes. Anything beyond that cramping and the nausea, that gets into an area that we know is heat exhaustion, and that can become more dangerous, especially for some of our older residents who may have some underlying medical conditions that they're dealing with.
Yeah, and that's a really important point, Sergeant, because when we get to that point where we're not listening to our bodies, we're toughing it out. Okay, a few more minutes and I'll be fine. Or you're thinking about, oh yeah, look, I'm feeling the heat a little bit here, no pun intended, but I'm also not exactly feeling so great myself as well. We start to get into that point where, as you mentioned, heat exhaustion and heat stroke start to potentially loom their ugly heads on us. But we want to know the difference because they have some similarities, but they're very different in how they manifest and in how they affect the body.
Yes. So heat exhaustion is going to be more severe symptoms than just the I'm feeling thirsty or I'm feeling tired. This is going to be the I'm nauseous and I'm feeling clammy and I can't really engage in the normal activities that I would typically be able to do. And if those start lasting over an hour, then that's going to be a time where you want to start seeking medical attention, whether it's getting yourself to a doctor or the hospital, or even calling 911 and letting our paramedics come and assess you and then transport you to a hospital if needed. Heat stroke is a much later condition where your body is no longer able to compensate for the heat that you're experiencing. You've become so dehydrated that you can't sweat anymore, and your body has lost the ability to cool itself. So your skin is going to be very red, very dry, very hot. You're going to start feeling a rapid pulse. You're going to be at risk of becoming confused and making decisions that could be detrimental to your health. You could lose consciousness, and your body is going to start, as a result of being so dehydrated, you're going to start experiencing more and more medical conditions the longer you wait to seek treatment.
And so with that, it's really important to keep track of those symptoms that you were mentioning, because if you're feeling some of those symptoms, you're continuing to spend time outside, whether you're exercising, you're working in the yard, or even you're just hanging out with friends and family and enjoying the sunshine. Ignoring those can have some severe effects on your body if you are especially suffering from heat stroke long term and don't get that treatment. What are some of the dangers that come along with not immediately taking yourself out of that situation and either cooling off, or, as you mentioned, calling 911, getting paramedics out there to assess you and hopefully treat you and alleviate the symptoms?
I mean, at a certain point, your body is going to start compensating by shutting down the organs that it deems non-essential to surviving in that moment. Your kidneys will shut down. You run the risk of being so dehydrated and experiencing electrolyte imbalance that you start having symptoms of a heart attack, symptoms of a stroke. It's so important that you stay hydrated and stay cooled in these situations. And like we said, confusion can set in pretty early. So we may not always be the best judges of our own condition. So it's going to be very important to keep an eye on the people that are around us and our loved ones in our homes and make sure that they are taking care of themselves, because we aren't always the best of taking care of ourselves and judging our own conditions.
And so if we are keeping an eye out, if we are seeing these symptoms in our loved ones and our friends and strangers when we're out and about in this heat over the next few days or any time throughout the summer, what are some actions that people can take, including when they're in between that moment when they're noticing these symptoms and first responders are arriving?
if somebody can take drinks of water, small sips preferably, we don't want to run the risk of them vomiting and losing even more fluids. Help them get rehydrated if you can. If you can get them cooled down with some damp rags or even ice packs. Slow and steady actions here. But purposeful rehydration, slow but purposeful cooling. We don't want them to get too cold too fast and start shivering, because that's counterproductive to what we're trying to do. And then stay with them until responders get there. We want to make sure that you're able to help the responders understand what was happening before we arrived, so that we have a clear understanding of what treatment that patient needs.
We're joined by Blake Belsky from the West Bloomfield Fire Department. He's a sergeant with them as we talk about addressing the heat over these coming days. We're expecting extremely high temperatures throughout the remainder of this week. And then, look, we're getting closer to July into August when we're having those peak summer heat season temperatures and humidity. So all good advice from the West Bloomfield Fire Department. You can keep up to date with them and even more advice all throughout the year on Facebook at WB Fire Department. Sergeant Belsky, as we're thinking about these different ways we can protect ourselves, you mentioned it, we've talked about it, getting into the shade, going indoors in front of air conditioning or a fan, maybe even jumping in the shower and getting cooled off in that way. But what are some other maybe more unconventional ways or more creative ways that people can also address trying to stay cool while continuing to work out in the yard and have fun outside with their friends?
Those things are all still okay. Make sure you're taking breaks. Make sure that you are getting inside and getting some cool liquids to drink. Maybe take some breaks by doing some activities that you don't normally get a chance to engage in. Get up to the library. They've got air conditioning. They've got some fantastic books that maybe you haven't checked out in a while. Might be a great time to go see a movie in a nice air-conditioned theater. Find those activities that are weather appropriate. You wouldn't jump in the lake typically in the middle of the winter, and you wouldn't normally stay outside in 100-degree heat for too long. So again, just make sure that you're making good choices. Make sure that the people around you are making good, healthy choices.
More information and sage advice from the West Bloomfield Fire Department can be found on WB Fire Department on Facebook. You can also find more information on how to get in contact with the fire department on wbtownship.org. That includes a non-emergency number for even more advice or questions you may have about fire safety, indoors, outdoors, heat safety, or other things you may need. And of course, if you have an emergency, dial 911 and they will be there as soon as they can to help you address these issues. Sergeant Belsky, before we let you go, anything else that we should be keeping abreast of on this issue as we're going through this hot week ahead and a hot couple of months coming ahead too with those forecasts?
Keep an eye on the forecast. Plan accordingly. If you've got weather alerts on your phone, those are useful. Plan your wardrobe, plan your activities, plan your meals, and your hydration accordingly. Stay informed. That's the best way to stay safe.
We appreciate your time. Thank you, Sergeant.
Thank you. Have a great day.
Keego Harbor residents are
Information provided right there in an interview that talks about how we basically manage the heat. Now, the summertime is a great time for us, except for those uncomfortable heat situations. So continue to follow up with everything the West Bloomfield Township West Bloomfield Township Fire Department has going on their Facebook, WB Fire Department on their Facebook, to find out everything that they have going on and to get information on how to contact them directly. Another thing in regards to the summer that we have to deal with are the storms. And one of the effects of the storms sometimes happen to be trees falling down, being in our way. And joining us right here on the Splash Live to talk about proper tree care and safety, owner of Ascension Tree Care, we have Dave Sheridan joining us on the show. Thank you so much for joining us, Dave.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. First and foremost, before we even get into the storm actually happening, what are some key steps homeowners should take to prepare not only their trees but their homes for a storm?
Yeah, I mean it's a tough thing with trees. It's you never fully know or can predict what's going to happen when a storm rips through. We've seen what we would consider dangerous, hazardous trees withstand the high wind gusts. Then we've seen, normal, healthy, by all appearances, healthy looking trees, mature trees, just completely topped over. So what I'd recommend is, take some steps, make sure you're getting your trees trimmed, with proper pruning cuts, like limbs that overhang your house. Those are a good one to take care of. But make sure you have, certified arborists doing the work, because, if you don't take the proper steps and have the knowledge to make proper pruning cuts, you could be causing structural damage to the tree down the road, which, could increase the risk when storms do kick up.
No, that's a great point. And we are currently dealing with the issue of a lot of surrounding communities that you serve that currently have been affected by the storm, as well as West Bloomfield. We want to thank you and your company, Ascension Tree Care, for actually going out there and doing that work that we all need, especially during this time. Now, going on to after the storm and things of that nature, how do we know whenever it's necessary to remove a tree after a storm?
Yeah, so like right now, we're at a job site in Farmington Hills, which got hit pretty hard the recent storms. And there's trees that are still standing, but they lost about like 50%, like a major lead off it. And so essentially like 50% of the canopy is completely on the ground. And so while the rest of that tree is standing, it's important that we mitigate the risk immediately. And then, our recommendation is a removal on the rest of the tree, because, it's with a wound like that, it's just not going to, it's a hazard. And so it's step one, address the storm damage and the danger, mitigate the risk. And then, two is to get the rest of the tree down so that the next storm comes, it's already down and not a hazard.
No, yeah. The first thing is making sure you're safe. Like you said, mitigate the risk first and foremost. Make sure there's no power lines around, none down. Make sure tree branches aren't near those type of things. So I completely understand that. Safety first. Join us right here on the Splash Live, owner of Ascension Tree Care, serving communities affected by the storms as well as West Bloomfield. Dave Sheridan also displaying proper tree care and safety, especially during these storms. Now, just kind of, I know you said looking at trees, you pretty much don't know whether or not, how it's going to act during a storm, but how do you know whether or not it's time to kind of get up there and just take care of a tree altogether if it's being disruptive, or if you just want to be proactive in general?
Yeah, so I would recommend just reaching out to a certified arborist. So that means an arborist is a tree care worker that's been doing this, has many years, at least 4 years of experience, and has gone through a certification process by the International Society of Arboriculture. And what that'll allow you to do is just invite them out. There's plenty of companies, ourselves included, that can assist with that. And they'll assess the risk of a tree. And so I would say just get a professional opinion. And, it's kind of like if you're going through a medical procedure, it's also helpful to get multiple opinions. So that would be my recommendation, is just someone who's trained and has experience out on your property and kind of walk through your specific situation, because every situation is different.
Completely understand that. And one last question before I let you go. Essentially, if a homeowner is interested in pruning their own tree or just kind of getting out there and doing it themselves, what would you recommend for that?
Yeah, I'm trying.
Okay. Well, I think we're having a little bit of connection issues with Dave Sheridan, owner of Ascension Tree Care, serving the surrounding areas that have been affected by the storm, as well as West Bloomfield. We appreciate you so much again for joining us, Dave. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, sorry about the technical difficulties. Call came through, and we're getting a lot of calls for the storm. So
absolutely, no problem. And we thank you again for your service, and we appreciate you. You want to find out more about what they have going on? Visit AscensionTreeCare.com. ScivilCare.com. You can find out everything that you need from them, and if you need their services, feel free to give them a call. We have so much more to talk about that we will explore as well right here on The Splash, including protecting your own skin during the heat as well. We are live, local, and social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
We'll be right back with The Splash Live. Bringing you stories and memories from West Bloomfield. Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depression stuff. That's what white people think.
You alright? It just feels like it's coming from everywhere. Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
And now, back to The Splash Live.
Social, it's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM. Thank you so much for joining us today. I am your host, Kevin McIntosh. Now, as we are talking about the summer heat, we also got to talk about how it affects our skin protection from the sun overall, and there's a lot of information and misinformation going on. So join us right here on The Splash Live from the Henry Ford Hospital Department of Dermatology, Dr. Molly Powers. We appreciate you for taking your time to be with us today, Dr. Powers.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. It's really a pleasure to be here.
We're talking about something that has actually been a topic of discussion on social media. Me and you both not too familiar about the TikTok audience and things like that, but there has been some misconceptions about sunscreen not necessarily being good for you. Any misconceptions about sunscreen or information about sunscreen that you want to share with our audience just in general?
Well, there is a lot of information regarding sunscreen, and I think one of the most important things to do is to look at the ingredients and to abide by the manufacturer guidelines for storage. So look at the ingredients. There are some sunscreens that contain a known carcinogenic called benzene. So I would look at the manufacturer and make sure your sunscreen does not include that. We know that UV rays cause skin cancer, so it's important to protect your skin from the ultraviolet radiation from the sun.
Okay, and that's why we have you here to kind of break that down for us again. We appreciate that, Dr. Powers. So what are the key differences between physical and chemical sunscreens, by the way?
Yeah, we get a lot of questions about this. The physical sunscreens use actual minerals, zinc and titanium, to physically block the damaging rays from the sun. The chemical sunscreens use different chemicals to actually absorb the sun's rays and convert it into heat, so it's not damaging. So there's two different mechanisms to protect your skin from the harmful radiation of the sun.
That's interesting. See, I don't think of it like that, of using sunscreen to kind of absorb the sun. I always think of it as literally coming and blocking it like they do like on a commercial and just going a different way. But I guess, the sun is good for us to a certain extent, I believe, and that's what the certain sunscreen would be for. Join us right here on The Splash Live to debunk all of those skin protection and sunscreen facts and rumors. Dr. Molly Powers from the Department of Dermatology from Henry Ford Hospital. Now, how effective is sunscreen when it comes to preventing skin cancer?
Oh, it's very effective. So it's important to use sunscreen not only when you're in the sun, but really every day. It's the cumulative damage when you're just out walking your dog or you're going to and from the car it's very important to protect your skin. And I see a lot of skin cancer in our older population. Every day I'm removing skin cancer from people's noses, their lips, their necks, behind their ears. And I frequently hear, well, I was never in the sun. I was never a sun worshiper. And it just adds up over your lifetime. So it's important to protect your skin every day from the sun.
Wow. So just accumulative over life, just not like protecting yourself properly. Certain parts of your skin even can be affected by skin cancer by not protect. That's very interesting work. Just makes you want to make sure you're on your toes pretty much all the time. Now with the sunscreen though, there's different SPF levels or whatever the case may be. I don't know the proper term for it, but is there a certain amount that you recommend in the sunscreen?
Yes. So every day, individuals should be putting on an SPF of 30 or higher on their face. And a lot of facial moisturizers have an SPF in it. The SPF stands for the sun protective factor. So an SPF of 30 or higher every day. When you are out in the sun and in the direct rays, I do recommend using an SPF of 50 or higher. A lot of individuals don't use enough sunscreen. I think people put on a pretty thin layer, and if you look at the guidelines and the recommendations, you have to put on you have to put on a thick layer. So if you're not doing that, then go with a higher SPF. So when you're directly in the sun, I would say 50 or higher every day. Put on a facial moisturizer, protect your face, protect the backs of your hands. Those are always exposed to the sun. So 30 or higher every day.
I'm so embarrassed, Dr. Powers, because I'm the type to just buy sunscreen and just go. I'm not reading SPF anything. And this is exactly why we have you here. Thank you so much again. I got a million more questions. I know I don't have too much more of your time, but briefly, this is what I want to, being completely honest, right? Different skin tones. I don't know if that makes a difference when it comes to how it reacts to the sun or different things like that. So are there any misconceptions, information in regards to how different skin tones react to the sun and skin cancer and things of that nature?
Absolutely. So lighter skinned individuals are more susceptible to non-melanoma skin cancer. However, people of color also get skin cancer. Again, I see it almost every day. So it is very, very important. Melanoma, I see basal cells, I see squamous cells in individuals, skin of people of color. So it's very important to continue to protect your skin.
Yep, regardless. Thank you for putting that out there. Essentially, we all need to protect ourselves. We all need to make sure we have the proper skin, sunscreen, I should say, as well as protecting ourselves with the shade and as well as water. Now, I want to ask you something. What are like some key initial signs that we can look for in regards to maybe like skin cancer, signs or things of that, symptoms, if I'm saying that correctly? What should we look out for?
That's a very good question. And anyone is susceptible to skin cancer, like I mentioned. One of the simple ways to remember for melanoma are called the A, B, C, Ds, and E's of melanoma. A is for if a spot on your body is asymmetric, meaning if you split it in half and you fold it in half, they don't line up. That should be evaluated. If the border is irregular, color is C. So if there's different colors within it, D is diameter bigger than a pencil eraser, it should be evaluated. But the most important is E. And that stands for evolving. If there's ever anything on your skin that is continuing to change, it should be evaluated. I hear a lot of patients come in and they say that they've had a pimple on their skin for several months. Pimples don't last several months.
Oh, God.
I would say if you have a new pimple-like growth and it's been there for about 4 weeks and it hasn't gone away, you should be in to see your doctor.
Oh, wow. Okay. You're dropping bombs here, Dr. Powers. And like I said,
Sorry.
once again, this is why we have you here. We have you here. If you don't mind, just a few more questions. if you don't mind. Okay, so first and foremost, how does exposure to the sun contribute to premature skin aging, if it does at all?
Yes, it absolutely does. So the sun and the ultraviolet rays from the sun create damage to our DNA in the skin. And it also breaks down a very important element of our skin called collagen. Collagen gives your skin support and elasticity. So the sun directly destroys that, and it can lead to early wrinkles and sunspots in addition to skin cancer.
Oh, yeah. See, and as much as we want to absorb it and be outside and love it, like you said, as long as you have to protect your skin from it's so many different things, like you said, premature skin aging, skin cancer. It's just so much. But overall, stay hydrated, stay in the shade, protect yourself, and there's so much more. So many more questions I would love to ask you, but any additional information that we didn't go over that you want to get out to the community, anything that you want to that you have going on, you want to let us know about?
Well, I'm outside and I'm very active, and protecting your skin from the sun doesn't mean you can't live your life. So you just need to incorporate these changes. One of the most helpful ways is sun protective clothing. You can wear sun shirts, you can put on a hat with a broad brim. I do recommend trying to avoid the sun in the middle of the day when the sun rays are the strongest. So if you're doing any outdoor activities, try to plan around that time. If you're a golfer, try to go out in the morning. If you're a gardener, try to go in the evening and do your gardening. So making smart decisions, but still live your life and enjoy it, because summertime is here and we all love summer.
Literally just the beginning of summer too. So we got a couple months of this, so it's best to prepare. Thank you again. We appreciate all the knowledge that you gave here on The Splash today. From the Henry Ford Hospital Department of Dermatology, Dr. Molly Powers. We appreciate your time again and information.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yes. I could pick her brain about 1,000 more different things to ask, but essentially we appreciate her and everything that she gave in regards to the information right here on The Splash Live. We will have that segment posted right on our website for you to check it out on civiccentertv.com. You click on the On Demand tab as well. Now, we actually had the honor and pleasure of having a legend on our program. Mr. Gregory Kelser, also known as Special K, who joined me to talk about his upcoming basketball camp at West Bloomfield High School. In case you missed it, here's that conversation.
Well, it's an opportunity for boys and girls ages 7 to 17 to come and spend a week with my coaches, with my staff, very, very qualified people who are there to help enhance their basketball skills. The main focus is to make sure they're having fun. We want to make sure that they're doing that. But, we talk to the kids about all the opportunities that are there in a short week's time, 5 days, not even a full week. But, opportunities to meet new friends and, start relationships that could last a lifetime. In addition to, trying to become better basketball players. But we spend a lot of time talking to the kids about education and how important that aspect of their lives are. I feel like, my life and many of my coaches would echo this, a commitment to education is the very embodiment of what we've lived and what we've experienced. And while we're there, able to do what we do right now, we all played basketball and it took us all to a certain level. But it was our educations that were able to pick up from there and bring us to where we are today. I'm a guy who played in the NBA, but once my career ended, I still had to work. I still had a lot of years in front of me.
Correct.
So it was, that's when the education that I was very, very serious about growing up, thanks to my parents, they demanded that. That's where that sort of took over. And we believe that education is essential and that academics and athletics can coexist. Now, you were asking me about, where the camp all started. It's funny, I feel like, in a way, I've come full circle because my very first basketball camp was in 1978 when I was still in college. And we had it in West Bloomfield at the Jewish Community Center. But the year prior to that, I worked Bob Lanier and Dick Vitale's basketball camp right at West Bloomfield High School, where my camp is now.
Wow.
And I remember walking away from that situation saying, I can do this. And the next year I was doing it, and we've never stopped since then. This will be our 45th or 6th year running the camps, and they've been really rewarding for us and for the people who've attended.
Congratulations, first and foremost, all the success on the camp. The inspiration, just the story that you shared alone for the viewers and the listeners right now, inspiring or aspiring to be, or at least achieve the what you've achieved in your career. I know that was great motivation for them. So just throughout the years of the camp, do you have any memorable moments, stories, success from any of the people that attended that you can kind of share that stands out to you?
Well, the thing that I always like to say and boast is that, if you go back to 1978, my first camp, I was 20 years old. The oldest kids in that camp were like 15. So there was a 5-year age difference. Well, fast forward some 45 years, I'm in my middle 60s, and, it's not uncommon for me to run into someone who's 60 years old who says, I attended your basketball camp.
Oh, wow.
And, now we got the grandchildren attending the basketball camps. So, that's been rewarding, the fact that we've been able to stick around, stay around, and have the impact that we've been able to have and share in the great lives, that we've been so privileged to be a part of. Lots of success stories. I mean, we've got kids that are in every field that you can perhaps even think about.
Good.
And in fact, we got one youngster who's playing in the NBA Finals right now, Jaden Hardy of the Dallas Mavericks. He attended our camps for like 7 or 8 years.
Wow.
We watched him grow. We watched him develop, get bigger, from a little boy to a grown man now. We've had many kids go on to play college basketball, play basketball overseas. We've got a couple that have played in the NBA. But we tell people all the time, your kid doesn't have to be, their skill level doesn't have to be at that stage to where, they're vying for a college scholarship or a spot on the NBA roster. Your kid can be a novice, can be a beginner.
Of course.
And we would welcome them and make sure that our goal is to make sure that they're a little bit better in every way at the end of the camp than they were when they arrived on Monday.
For sure. It's like, of course, you don't want people who are, or kids who already feel like they're pros or they have everything mastered. This is for the development of that. So, yes, this is exactly for the people who are trying to, and like you said, whether or not you're trying to aspire to even go to the pros, basketball or sports in general, team sports help build camaraderie, helps bring teamwork, help you think of a teamwork type of mentality in many situations which we had to deal with in real life. So I completely agree and understand that. Join us here on the Splash Live, founder of the Greg Kelser basketball camp happening at West Bloomfield High School. We have Mr. Greg Kelser himself talking about the camp and just in general, basketball fundamentals and education in general for the youth. Now, real quick, Mr. Kelser, if you don't mind, what key fundamentals do you believe are essential for the youth to understand from your basketball camp in order for them to become professionals or just masters in general?
Well, there's so many areas of the game. And what we hope is that the kids will embrace the development of all of those assets. Those facets. Not just shooting, which everybody wants to do, but ball handling, passing skills, defensive footwork, rebounding, blocking out, conditioning. All of these things are essential if you're going to be a really good basketball player, a complete player. You don't want to be really good in one thing and not good in 3 or 4 others. You want to try to be your best in every phase of the game. And that's why we have station drills. We break it down each day, each morning. You work on these things You have excellent direction provided by the coaches. And then in the afternoon, we let them play games where we hope that they'll implement some of the things that they may have learned in the morning, try them in the games and that sort of thing. It's worked out. It's worked out quite well. And then we also, to kind of bolster what we talk about every day as far as education is concerned, we give them little assignments, little things that they can do where they got to maybe utilize their minds a little bit, and not just the physical part of their constitution, but let's exercise that mind too. And this, I think, helps us to validate what we're talking about as far as education. But I tell you what, I really like what you said a moment ago about teamwork, because basketball and most team sports, they do teach you so much beyond what the sport is all about. It's all about coming together, putting collaborative efforts together for a single goal. And I don't think anything teaches you that better than basketball and other sports, where you're depending on someone else's effort along with yours to get to a certain point. And I know that you don't get anywhere in life by yourself. You have to have help and input from others, and teamwork is essential to that. And that's what this sort of teaches.
I couldn't have said it better myself. It means so much more coming from a professional like yourself, Mr. Kelser. It seems like it's common sense, but yes, it's teamwork, it's camaraderie, it's working with others, sharing common goals, and a marriage, any relationship, even at work, it just all makes sense. And I completely agree, comparing basketball and teamwork with that also. Mr. Kelser, I know you have to go, but one last thing, I guess, before we go, just give out any additional details, information, requirements, qualifications for people who are interested in signing their youth up for the Greg Kelser basketball camp.
Okay, we have a website, very simply. It's GregoryKelser.com/basketball. If you just go to GregoryKelser.com, you'll see a link there that will take you to the camp. But if you want to go directly to the camp, just add basketball on the end of that website you're seeing on the screen right now, GregoryKelser.com/basketball. We have a telephone number there if you have questions, but everything is pretty self-explanatory. We still have spots available, but I would encourage anyone that wants to get their child involved to sign up as soon as possible, register, and we'll look forward to having a great week beginning July 15th through the 19th.
July 15th through the 19th, West Bloomfield High School, boys and girls ages 7 through 17, the Greg Kelser basketball camp. Once again, join us here on the Splash Live, the founder of that basketball camp, Mr. Greg Kelser, Special K himself. Thank you so much for your time, sir. We appreciate it.
Hey, Kevin, thank you very much. And you do a great job, too. I want to say that. You're a pro at what you do.
Oh, Mr. Kelser, don't make me blush. I appreciate it. Such an honor to talk to Mr. Gregory Kelser, by the way. Find out more about his basketball camp happening at West Bloomfield High School. Website, GregoryKelser.com. Check out what Special K has going on as basketball camp. Right here in the greater West Bloomfield area, specifically in Keego Harbor, we are welcoming a brand new business, specifically a bakery. Join us right here on the Splash Live to talk about this brand new bakery in Keego Harbor, Canal Bakery, we should say. Owner and pastry chef for Canal Bakery, Matt Neo. Thank you for joining us, Matt. And can you talk about how your early experiences in baking shaped your passion for baking?
Thank you. Good morning, guys. It started in Ivory Coast over 30 years ago when I was working in a cocoa plantation. And that's when I started, falling in love with the process of making chocolate. After spending a few years in the Ivory Coast, went back to France and studied to become brevet de maîtrise, which is a master pastry chef. And at the same time, I was dating someone who was from here, and ended up finishing my work and diploma and come here in 2002 to work for the Ritz-Carlton for a year. And after I decided to start opening my own business.
Nice. All right, so you have a very wide range of experiences that drew you right here to our community in Keego Harbor. But I want to start going back to the root of you saying you working on the cocoa bean plantation. Can you talk about that experience? How was that?
I can't describe it how beautiful it is. It's just like it's you and the nature and the beauty of the country and the beauty of the forest and the cocoa beans and the people. It's just honestly, if it wasn't for small issues happening in the country, I don't think I will be here at this moment.
Absolutely, it's the challenges that make us who we are, get us to where we are ultimately, and drive us to success. Now we know, in case our audience doesn't know, this isn't your first location. This isn't your first Canal Bakery. You have multiple actually in the Metro Detroit area. So when you opened up your first one, can you just talk about the challenges and successes you faced since opening your initial location?
So my first location, I opened it in 2003 on Northwestern Highway in Applegate Plaza. And it was a failure. It's like I didn't succeed at all. I failed to actually introduce new product and make it successful. A year and a half after, I went to downtown Birmingham and I opened a store over there instead. I closed the one in Southfield and opened it in Birmingham. And it was success from day one. And also spent 5 years in this location, doing very, very well, but I couldn't make a living for myself. I decided to close the location and open a wholesale bakery, which is I did successfully do good for about 2 to 3 years. Reopened the one in Birmingham after learning so many things I was not good at. And it was success from day one. And this is my first success store was in Birmingham. Followed in 2019, the store in Detroit, and followed 3 years after the store in Ann Arbor. And last year we did Farmington. This year we're doing Keego.
Oh man, what ups and downs, challenges and successes of a business, and I'm glad you were open and honest about that. Some of those being, some great things that you achieved, and some of those being, hey, we tried some things that didn't last, but we got it done and we got what we got out of it. Joining us right here on the Splash Live, by the way, pastry chef and owner of Canal Bakery, Matt Neo, talking about their opening. Their brand new location in Keego Harbor on Orchard Lake, by the way. Aiming for a July 12th opening, by the way, out there. Now, what type of pastries or bakery items are we talking about? Do you specialize in, Matt?
So we technically specialize in French pastries, specifically French pastries. So we don't do anything except French pastries. And in an upscale caliber, it's beautiful to view and to eat. And we were excited. I mean, just like we can't wait to show, which is the city near where I live. I live in West Bloomfield for now over 20 years. And I can't wait until to show where we can offer it to the city and, love being in here.
So since we are opening up this location right here in our community, Keego Harbor, let's just talk about how it feels to actually open a location right here within the same community you work at, and actually hire and employ local people also.
So always is not easy. It's a little bit of challenge to find the crew. So usually what we do, we use and experienced people from other locations, and we give them opportunity to run the store, to be like the store managers. And I was surprised actually, since we didn't announce the hiring part, I'm receiving emails for people who wants to work, and I did have interview for 4 people just this morning.
Nice. And that's just the feedback that you're already getting, just announcing, your establishment in general right here in the community. And just imagine the support that you're going to get once you do actually open. So it seems like great success. And speaking of success, you also were recognized as one of the best Best Bakeries in the Midwest by the Midwest Living magazine. Can you talk about how that feels?
It feels amazing, actually. I was I was honored and extremely happy when I heard that. So, best of the Midwest. That's a great achievement, and it makes your heart like, let's go and let's keep going and let's keep improving, and it makes you very excited.
Man, I know. Great inspiration also. And we kind of putting it out there to kind of put your brand on a shelf and just kind of let everyone know we're getting one of the best brands in bakery coming to our greater West Bloomfield area, specifically Keego Harbor. Before we let you go, Matt, just once again talk about your location and your establishment overall and why people should come visit.
It's an experience going to Canal. The beauty of the store, the beauty of the pastries, the environment, the customer service we do, it's gonna make you feel like you are in a different place, and it will invite you to love more and more and the city of Keego Harbor and West Bloomfield.
And we can't wait either to pay a visit out there and get some great baked goods out there. Thank you again for your time. Matt Neo, pastry chef and owner for Canal Bakery, opening up in Keego Harbor July 12th on Orchard Lake Road. We appreciate you for being here.
Thank you very much.
Yes, another business opening up right here in our area that we all should support and love, by the way. Great information. If you want to find out more about Canal Bakery, visit their website, canaldetroit.com, by the way. They have everything that you need in regards to what they have going on. Speaking about what's going on in the community specifically, lots of fun yesterday at the Kids Commotion concert. It was a day full of sun, full of fun, full of kids and cheerful music, by the way. The second of the 3 Kids Commotion concerts, by the way, was at Marshbank Park yesterday, like we said, and it was the Children's Theater of Michigan's turn to perform. You're watching the photos right here on CivicCenterTV.com. Great action and energy out there that day. They do have a third and final Kids Commotion concert that will be at Marshbank Park, of course, August 22nd, 10 a.m., 12 p.m. Another great performance expected, so make sure you go out there and take the kids. It should be great fun. Visit WB Parks on Facebook for more information regarding the Kids Commotion concerts. If you are looking to get involved, spend a little bit of extra time that you have getting involved in the community, you can do that and help the kids by joining your local Optimist Club. Now, the Optimist Club of West Bloomfield is seeking volunteers. It could be anyone, from the kids all the way to the grandparents. Anyone can come out and help volunteer. You can meet them Friday morning, today, June 21st, Sunny's Cafe, Orchard Lake Road, by the way. And you can go there, shake hands, meet people, find out exactly what's going on with the West Bloomfield Optimist Club. With the Optimist Club of Keego Harbor, different club, still local. If you're looking to support and have fun, they are having a steak out fundraiser. That'll be Thursday, June 27th at the Oakland County Sportsman Club. Now, they have a few different things going on. It should be a great time if you get there early enough and you want to eat and participate. $65 gets you dinner and skeet shooting at the club. That starts at 4 p.m. 5:30. If you just want to have a great meal, $35 gets you a great meal for a great cause. By the way, I believe they're having steak, chicken. That alone is going to draw me there. So it seems like a great time. You can RSVP in advance by calling Bill Pertakis at 248-343-8816. That's 248-343-8816. 8816, so you can RSVP in advance for the Optimist Club of Keego Harbor and their stakeout fundraiser. Now, speaking of Keego Harbor Parks and Rec is putting in work to connect the community with events all summer long. They kicked it off by making one of their local parks just a little bit brighter and sunnier. And the Splash Live's very own reporter, Peyton Skyver, has a story.
Keego Harbor residents are tapping into their creative side this afternoon as they gather to begin painting park posts to help brighten up Tate Optimist Park. Hosted by Keego Harbor Parks and Rec, this Keego Connect event is allowing people of all ages to come together for a creative and fun activity that will help the park be an even more beautiful place for the community to enjoy.
Yeah, so we're kicking off the Keego Connect. It was an idea that I had about activating our parks and connecting our community with our parks. And so we thought, hey, how do we beautify this park? It's sort of along the trail. And so we're excited that our community is coming out to paint the ballards or the posts in the park. I think it's just a fun way to gather, fun way to show that how we can better our community and bring a little color to the parks too.
So we're actually working on a program called Keego Connect, and we're working on doing all kinds of different activities in our parks and inviting community members to do that, such as the park improvement projects. We're also going to be doing yoga and reading, like summer reading, and lots of different events. I think it's really important for the community to come together and help improve the parks. Keego is a really small city, and so we do rely on volunteers a lot, so it really means a lot for everybody to come together and volunteer to help get our parks better looking. My family grew up on the street actually, and we visited this park all the time, so I think it's kind of fun that we get to help be a part of improving it, a park and resource that we've been using for years, so that's pretty cool.
I'm really active in the city, and I know a lot of people on Parks and Rec, and I'm interested in beautifying our parks. My beach club that I belong to in Cunningham Park, and we painted rocks, and I still had the paint, and so I thought this will be a painting weekend for me, and I enjoy craft painting, and so the people in Parks and Rec work really hard, and I'm just one of the side volunteers that wants to help out. We're just blessed with a lot of parks here in Keego, and it's time to start showing them some love.
I love giving back. I have a servant's heart, and so I just love that I can help plan and bring people together to do something for our community.
After a day filled with art, creativity, and community bonding, Tate Optimist Park has definitely been brightened up. Be on the lookout for more of these Keego Connect events by checking out the So Keego Facebook page. With Civic Center TV, I'm Peyton Skyver.
Such a great event, great effort by the residents in Keego Harbor, taking their time to get outside and volunteer at their local park to make it look that much better. That's what we got to honor with the residents right here in our own community. Speaking of our own community, Keego Connect is continuing to connect the community this weekend behind the Keego Harbor City Hall at Rose Sorter Park with Laurel from EM2M Fitness. That'll be this Sunday, by the way. Bring water, bring a towel, and of course, bring a yoga mat and bring your great energy and vibes for a great time outdoors, by the way. You can visit their Facebook page for more information. KH Parks on Facebook to keep up with everything Keego Harbor Parks and Recs. And before you do get out to exercise, get out and celebrate. 2024 Keego Harbor Block Parties kick off tonight. The next Keego Harbor Block Party will be taking place tonight, June 21st. 5:30 to 8:30. Live music from Slowfoot, food from Grilled Wrap, and it's going to be a great time outside with everyone in the community. Plus, a bunch of artists out there featuring their art from Art Sale as well, providing great visuals for you. So you want to find out about everything happening at the block party, please visit them on Facebook as well. Like we always say, KH Parks on their Facebook for more information. As we do per usual, keeping you updated with everything relevant and things to do in the community in Greater West Bloomfield. So happy that you joined us. So much more in store. Make sure you stay right here because we are live, local, and social. It's The Splash Live on Civic Center TV and 89.3 Lakes FM.